Tom. Hmm.
Hello everyone. Let's start the session. Right. Okay, last session we discussed about working with jQuery Ajax and options. So I hope everyone tried all these jQuery Ajax related options. Have you done that? Right. Right. jQuery Ajax, how to handle. We are going to use that Ajax one more time when we are working with server-side integrations. We will discuss about that. Right. So, how to handle these Ajax interactions. Right. So what is the problem you are facing, Shubham? Yes. What's the problem, Shubham? Yes, what is your doubt? Shubham, is there any problem? I can't hear you. It's fine. Let's continue then, right? Yeah. Okay. So last session we discussed about that options now. Now another important is in jQuery, as I told you that you need to know few jQuery plugins. Means jQuery plugins, how we can implement them and use them with especially our data. Already I told you these plugins are provided by third parties. We can download those plugins and we can use them for making the presentations. Ready-made plugins will be there. So technically, how we can get the plugins and how we can use the plugins. So many free, so many uh, paid sources are present. Yesterday I told you. Suppose free online, so many free will be there. jQuery script.net. So jQuery script sc. Yeah. So this is also this is one jQuery plugin. So plugins related free website. This is jQuery plugins related free website. Hundreds of plugins will be there. So these plugins you can implement in your websites. Already I told you that in real world, so we purchase plugins, so we use plugins, right? And so many plugins are present. You can implement them. So you can see right side several categories of plugins are present. Suppose you are looking for menu, you are looking for slideshows, tables, so charts and graphs, right? Now when I click, suppose I am looking for right side table related plugins, so some table related plugins will be there, and you can see these are the table related plugins. So these are tables you have like enabling sorting and filtering and pagination. So we have spreadsheet like, so different types of options are available, means different categories available. So sort the tables, selected column, filtering of tables. So here I selected paginate, filter and sort dynamic. I click on this. You can see it will show you this. It will show you that table here. This is the sample plugin actually. This is the sample plugin. And how to use that plugin, how we can use that plugin, it will show you with example, means how we can add the plugin. In order to use the plugin, so we need to access the table and we need to apply this function. Just like I told you, jQuery UI is having ready-made options. The same thing you have to follow here. So you can implement these plugins. You can implement these plugins for different types of functionalities. For different types of functionalities, different properties are given to you. All these options are provided to you. The point is, these are ready-made designed for you. Ready-made designed for you. And you can use these. But remember, while using these also have certain limitations. Some problems will be there. So you can see, to use this, so whatever library is required, you have to download that library and you can implement this library. So see what are CSS required, what JS is required. We have to download that so that we can handle this. Because manually, if you have to create such things, so then it will take a little while. So a little bit complex. It will take some time. So in real world development, we don't prefer that. We use these plugins. What we will do is, so these all plugins, so different plugins, we will use with the database and data. While working with database and data integrations, I will show you such plugins so that you can directly interact with real-time data, databases, server-side technologies. So in jQuery, some plugins related to certain requirements, we will see in real-world example. So while working with the databases and all, right? Currently, so we have learned up to AJAX, jQuery AJAX options, plugins and all. We will see with real world data, with database and server side integrations. Before that, you can just try with these sample examples. So, but I will show you while working with the exercises. So it's real time data. We will design a small project like, so in that we will implement these extra plugins. I will show you how to collect plugins from different sources and customize them and use them, right? And without plugins also, so we can design, but you have to write a lot of logic for that without plugins also, because those plugins are designed by somebody like us. They have written all the logic and given to us. For that, we need to learn so many techniques, which I will show you in various occasions. We will do that now. So we will keep this plugins concept for a later purpose. Later use, we will see that. Now, after understanding the JavaScript and jQuery related functionalities, now we are going to understand, now we are going to learn about the next important concept is we are going to see about SAS and less like options. What are SAS and what is less? In CSS, so while working with CSS and all, so what is SAS, what is less after the JavaScript and jQuery? Now it is easy to handle this. We will see how we can manage and how we can work with this SAS and less, right? So what is less and what is SAS? So actually both are not required. Any one is enough. Any one is enough. Both are not required. Any one is enough. So generally, now more than this less, SAS is very much used. SAS is very much used. It has more advantages over less. So that is the reason we will see this less SAS options. And once you know this SAS less also, same concept, right? Just only syntactically some options will change. Even you use Bootstrap. For example, if you use Bootstrap, we have a website, Get Bootstrap. We are using Bootstrap. When we are using Bootstrap and we are downloading here, see, Bootstrap is also internally, it is using the SAS and less files actually, SAS and less files. We downloaded already Bootstrap, so the previous here. Yeah, actually it will provide you a complete combination of SAS and less files. I will show you here. We downloaded already this into our project. You go to our project location, node modules. So in the node modules, you can see the Bootstrap. So Bootstrap is using SCSS. So these are Bootstrap SCSS, SAS files. These are all SAS files. Complete Bootstrap is using SAS, right? So if you know SAS, less also same. So we are not uh, wasting time in exploring both and concept, right? One SAS is enough. So this will help you to handle this less also. When I show SAS, less also in a similar way, right? What is this SAS and what is the purpose of this SAS and how do we use this? So we have to learn this. While working with CSS, so this is very important. Actually, suppose you have learned a lot of CSS. Let me give you a folder, SAS examples. Okay. Suppose I am creating a new HTML, home.html, and here I am writing some effects. So when we are writing the effects doc type HTML, so head, okay, style. Suppose I am creating some header. So for header, we are adding some effects. So background color, some light green, some color. So color, some blue, okay. And here text align as center, okay. Now, and here we have the footer. Footer also needs these two same, only text align will be changing. That generally, can you give me any suggestion? So I say text align is equal to left. Can you give me suggestion how this footer can use these two again without rewriting? Do I need to write again? What do you say? Do I need to write those two effects for footer also now? Or is there any possibility that I can use those two here? What do you say? Inherit. You will inherit. So, but when you inherit, all will come, na? When you inherit, all will come, na? And very important is when you are inheriting, technically, when you are inheriting if you apply in a root class, how you will access that class here, right? If you are inheriting, what will happen? You are not inheriting these properties. You are inheriting only that color. Am I right? Understood? So the problem with CSS is reusability, maintainability, structuring the contents. These are all the issues that you generally face with CSS as a developer. So to overcome these kind of issues, so we have syntactically awesome style sheet, syntactically awesome style sheet. So we call this as SAS. We call this as SAS. Syntactically awesome style sheet SAS. Actually, technically, you should know that SAS is a CSS preprocessor. Preprocessor. What is the meaning of preprocessor means? Remember, SAS is not understandable. So SAS is not understandable to browser. Browser cannot understand SAS. So browser can understand. It cannot understand SAS. Browser can handle and understand only CSS. Then what is this SAS? Why we need to use SAS? SAS is used by developer to make use of the features, like reusability, usability. So like maintainability, reusability, maintainability. That means SAS is used by developer to make use of the features like reusability and maintainability. So technically, SAS is converted into CSS. That means developer will write in SAS, which is compiled into CSS. It is transcompiled into CSS. So that means you write in SAS, it is translated into CSS. So browser can finally understand your CSS only. In a HTML page, you have to put CSS on. But developers will not write directly CSS now. They will write SAS. The advantage of this is it will allow the developer to make use of all the facilities like reusability, maintainability and all, and design so that it is easy to implement. So now CSS becomes more easy for a developer, but he will not directly write CSS, he will write SAS. Actually, SAS is a language. It provides all the language features like variables, like functions, like statements, So it provides all these. That is the reason after learning any language, if you learn this SAS, then it becomes easy. So that is the reason many times people ask, so while learning CSS, sir, will you teach SAS? When you will teach SAS? You have an excitement to learn, but the point is you don't know what it is and you want to learn. That means many times that happens. You don't know what it is, but you want to know it. You want to learn. That is the reason you will ask like immediately, sir, after CSS SAS na? After CSS not SAS. So for that you need to know there is no order here. If you know good programming, then this becomes very easy for you. That is the reason we have waited till JavaScript jQuery to finish, so that If anybody knows JavaScript, jQuery like languages, it's nothing, simple, very simple to handle. Without that, if they come here, then again we have to explain what is a variable, what is a function, what is a statement, how to write functions, how to write statements. So this becomes too complicated for a person to handle who finished just CSS and don't know any programming. Once you know little bit programming, this becomes very easy for you. That is the reason we are discussing this after JavaScript and jQuery, so that it is easier for us to handle. So because we don't need to learn what is a variable, what is a function statement, we can simply implement them here. We'll see how to handle that. So technically, SAS is a preprocessor. SAS is a preprocessor. So why? Because preprocessor, it's a language, it is used to make your CSS better. Actually, in real-time projects, we use this SAS for building the styles, and those SAS files are converted into CSS later. I will show you how it is done. For that, actually, we have to install SAS. We have to install SAS on the computer. We have to install SAS on the computer. So let's see how we can install SAS on the computer, how we can handle this. So let's go and see how we can handle this. So go into the terminal. So here in your project, you open terminal. There is a terminal menu, new terminal. This is terminal. Already we installed Bootstrap and all now, same. So just like how you installed Bootstrap, you have to run npm install -g SAS. So actually npm install -g. -g is global, because SAS, if you install once in your computer globally, you can use in any project. So no need to install in every project. So if you install without -g, it will work only for the current project. So better put -g and SAS. That means it will be globally installed so that you can use anywhere. So it is globally installed so that you can use anywhere. So I will install this. In any project you can use it now. No need to install again and again. So SAS is installed successfully. Once the SAS is installed successfully, now you can use this in our project. So after installing SAS, so you have to just put npm install -g SAS. The SAS files will have the extension. SAS files have extension .scss. They have the extension SCSS. Browser cannot understand CSS. Browser can understand only CSS. But as a developer, we write all our CSS in this SCSS file. After that, we will compile that. After that, we will compile that into CSS. We will compile this into CSS. Technically, how we can do that? So how we can manage that? So let's see the process. How to compile? That means generally you have suppose effects.scss. This you cannot use in a website. So what we have to do, we have to compile it by using a SAS compiler, SAS compiler. We have to give effects.scss and effects.css. Whatever the SCSS code is there, it is converted into CSS file. A CSS file is generated and the CSS code is created. So in projects, we will build all these SCSS file, and that is converted into this CSS. And we use this CSS in our files. We use that CSS in our HTML files. So let's see how this works, how we can use this, how we can work with this. So let's go here. Initially, first step, go to the project. So in the project, SCSS examples. So here, what we will do, I will remove this style and all. Okay. First, in this SCSS example, we will add a new file. Add a new file, and the file name fx.scss. We have to give SCSS extension. fx.scss. Okay. Now, in this, we need to write the logic. Okay. How to write, I will tell you. So we have a HTML page. So we have the HTML page. In the HTML page, so first we will design some content in the body section. Now I will write here, so a div and the class as a container. So just container. In this container, we are having a heading. So welcome to SAS, and we have a paragraph, some awesome style sheet, so something like this. Okay, now I want to apply effects to this. So I want to apply some effects to this. So to the container, we want to apply some effects and define some effects. Then usually how we can configure and define the effects. So generally, multi-level also I will tell you block scopes, how we can manage them and use them. First step, when you are configuring and defining the options, so you can go to the effects.scss. Here we want to write the effects. Now in the SAS language, SAS language supports variables. What are variables? No need to explain. So variables of different types. So they will same like JavaScript variables, number, string, boolean. So all these comes under null. All these are JavaScript variables. Only the point you should know is here SAS can use all JavaScript data types, and here variables are declared by using dollar. Variables are declared by using dollar. So dollar is used for declaring the variables. So how we can declare variable? So here we are using dollar and the variable name, any name for variable. Suppose I given border. Border is the variable, and what is the value for the variable? So we have to put with colon and value. What's the value for the variable? So it is 2 pixel, it is solid, it is some dark CL. So CL, okay, like this. This is the variable. That means actually, in order to apply these three, we have to write these three every time. So if it is suppose like a transition, and you are writing a matrix for transition, then you have to write lengthy, very lengthy. Now all these values are stored in a variable called border. Variables are declared, but here, so we have to write variable name colon value. This is how we have to write variables. So generally in JavaScript we use equal. Here we have to use colon, just like object like. Okay, now this is a variable. Okay, I will declare another variable. So dollar, I will say BG, that is for background, and I will give as some light CN. So like this. That means now you can add lot of things. We will learn gradually. We will see different things. Two variables are there. So border and BG. Now for container, dot container, container is the class. In our home page, we have container. Container is the class. To container, I want to apply border. I want to apply border. If I want to apply border, then I don't need to write all of them. I can just access that variable border. I don't need to write all of them. Just I need to apply that variable border. I need to apply. So complete properties also we can use. I will tell you. We will see that. Now I am using suppose background color. Background color. I'm applying so $BG. That is the background color. Border is that and background color. What is the advantage here is you can use this for any kind of content inside the page. For any kind of content inside the page, you can use this. And not only that, what is specialty here is if I make change in the variable, it will affect everywhere. That's good. That is very simple. That means now this is the CSS. Just this is the basic example. We will learn so many. So our SCSS file is ready. In CSS, you cannot write these variables. CSS will not support variables and all. SCSS only supports these variables. But here I will run this program here. I will run this now. Home HTML. So home HTML is not having any effects. It is not having any effects. It is normal. Now I want to apply these effects to it. You cannot apply directly a CSS file. We have to transcompile. We have to transcompile into CSS. Right? We have to transcompile into where? CSS. What you are talking about? So you know, if you know variable, is variable name is a keyword. Is variable name is a keyword. That is why I said when you learn JavaScript and jQuery, right? So after learning JavaScript and jQuery, so you are still behaving like a person who don't know JavaScript and jQuery. So for such situations, to avoid such situations only, I told you that better to learn this here. Right? Yeah. So that means, so the question is, variable name can be anything, na? Is it a keyword? What do you say? Variable name is a keyword. So that's an completely not a question from any programmer, right? That is the reason you learned JavaScript and jQuery, then came here, right? So variable names are not keywords. So what is that? BG is a keyword. I return just reasonably same border. It doesn't mean that it should be border, right? Yeah, right. So that is why we learned. So I thought that after JavaScript and jQuery, such questions you will not ask again. But you are asking still the same point, right? Because after learning JavaScript, jQuery, you should not have doubt on how to use what is a variable, what is data type, how to write variables, declare values. Only syntactical changes you need to understand, right? Okay, fine. Now, any name you can give for variable, you can put those values into that, we can access them. But we cannot use them directly. So we need to compile this into CSS. Let's compile this into CSS. How to compile into CSS? Remember, this is where your SCSS file is there. Open this location in terminal. So many times you face this problem. Open this location in terminal. Right click on the file and select open in integrated terminal. Open in integrated terminal. So it will open that location in terminal. Sometimes you will open terminal in some other folder and you try to execute this command. So CSS file, it will say file not found. That is the reason. Open this in the terminal. Open this location in the terminal, right? After opening this in the terminal, now we have to transcompile this SCSS file into CSS. You have to write the command like this: SAS, and we have to convert. SAS is the compiler. Fx dot SCSS space fx dot CSS. It has to convert. So it will create a file called fx.css. You can give any different name also, but it is always good to maintain the same name. Extension you cannot give different. Extension should be CSS only. File name you can give any name, but it is always good that you maintain the same names for SCSS and CSS, because you have to later make any change, then you cannot get confused, right? So now hit enter. When I hit enter, you can see a CSS file is created. If there are any problems, it will show errors. So we will see that. Now it is successfully generated, and you can see that. You can see in our project an FX CSS file generated, and FX CSS map is generated. Actually, the purpose of map file is, anybody may ask you in interview, what is this map file? Map file contains the information. You can simply say metadata. You know what is metadata? Metadata means it contains information about your file. It contains information about your file. Understood? That means what version file it is. So, and what is the source file? What is the target file it generated? All information about your file is present in this location. So, but observe here fx.css. fx.css is looking like normal CSS. It doesn't have any variable. But see, container is applied with this border and background color is applied with this color. Am I right? That means you are writing them. So it is easy now. That means you are declaring variables here. We are